Okay, hello everyone. I'm Sebastien Chopin. It was written right here. My talk is really dense, so I will go straight to the point. Today I'm going to talk about Nuxt.js. Who here has used Vue or Nuxt.js? Okay, half, that's good. So Nuxt is a JavaScript framework. It is based on Vue.js, Vue Router, Vue Meta, Vuex, and Vue Meta. It's also composed of Webpack, Babel, and PostCSS. So you can run Nuxt dev or just Nuxt in development, so you will have hot module replacement and stuff, and Nuxt build to bundle your app for production. It gives you a directory structure to follow, so this is all the directory. Most of them are optional, only the pages directory is required, and the Nuxt.config.js is where you will put your configuration, but we have no configuration by default. It is also performance-oriented, which means that we have automatic code splitting for your pages. We have the resource hints, also the HTTP2 support. We have this smart prefetching feature. So when you will navigate on a page, every link in the viewport will automatically prefetch the next page. And we have the modern build. So when you use the modern build, we will create a legacy build and a modern build. So when your browser is supporting the latest feature, we directly serve this file and saving kilobyte of bandwidth. We care about developer experience. I care really deeply in developer experience. So when you run Nuxt, you will see a splash screen showing you the Webpack progress, as well as an indicator in the browser. We also have this Nuxt build -- analyze. So we run Webpack bundle analyzer that shows you a web page with your bundle as a map, so you can optimize them. And you can write Vue file, SCSS, stylus, and PostCSS without touching any configuration file. And we have a strong module ecosystem. You can think of it as the Nuxt plugins. And you can install them with npm, add it to your Nuxt.config, and you have extended your Nuxt app. You can think of Google Analytics, PWA, etc. So you can update them, remove them without touching any of your code. So Nuxt does server-side rendering. We also do static generation. You can think of Gatsby, for instance. And we also support ClientSide application without server-side rendering, without touching a single line of code. I will show how it works. So we have different rendering modes. Universal, it's a server render the application on new request. Static generated, so we pre-render the page at build time. And you can host it on any static hosting. And we have the single page app, which is client-side only. So let's get started about universal. You run the Nuxt command for the development server. Then you run Nuxt build to bundle your app. And you can use Nuxt start to start the Node.js server in production with the production bundle. So let's see how it looks like. You have your browser. You hit let's say my blog. You hit the Nuxt.js server, node. Then we run the Vue app. So let's say I have a WordPress API. I'm listing my blog post, calling WordPress API, sending back my JSON. Then I finish rendering my Vue app on the server. Then I send back the HTML and the JavaScript. So what happened here is my visitor can see the page. He can scroll. If he clicks on a link at this stage, he will refresh the page, go back to the step 1. But while he's reading and scrolling, the browser will download and execute the JavaScript. Then we will have this client-side iteration, where we recreate the same page on client-side with the virtual DOM. We try to Vue will match the server-rendered HTML with the virtual DOM. If it's good, the app becomes reactive. And when I will click on a blog post, the Vue app will call the WordPress API, send back the JSON, and then I see my new page. So it's client-side navigation. Let's see an example. I have this Hacker News app. So when I navigate here, I have this client-side navigation calling the Hacker News API. And if I look at the source code, I can see that my app has been server rendered. So that's it for universal rendering. Static generated is the same for development. You just run Nuxt. Then, instead of calling Nuxt build and using Nuxt start, you will call Nuxt generate. That will call Nuxt build. And then we will generate every route at build time, server render, save the HTML, and put everything inside the dist directory. Then you can host this dist directory on GitHub page, search, every static hosting that you know. Then when you hit my blog, which has been static generated, the CDN, the static host, send back the HTML and JavaScript. Like universal, we have downloading, the executing JavaScript, iteration. And a difference, so right here is for the next upcoming version for the full static generate. Right now it's still calling the API on client-side navigation. But the point is, I click on the blog post, it will fetch this page data that has been saved as JSON and send back to the browser, and then you have this client-side navigation. So we have it actually on Nuxt.js.org. So this is server rendered, so we have the HTML. And when I navigate, you can see that we have this. Let's clear. OK, it's calling this payload.json, where we have the page data. So we don't call our API anymore. So this, with the PWA module, allows us to have a full offline capable website. So that's the difference between universal and static generated. Of course, if you need fresh data every time someone refresh the page, like an e-commerce website, I will recommend to use the universal rendering. OK, now we have the single page app. So if you don't care about server-side rendering, because you don't care about SEO or some user experience, you can run Nuxt-SPA. So it will disable the server-side rendering. You can use Nuxt build-SPA that will bundle you up to the dist directory. And that's how it looks like. You have the static hosting, you request, send back HTML, but because we don't have server-side rendering, then we show loader, then parsing, executing the JavaScript, getting the blog post, sending back, and then the user, the visitor, can see your website, click on a link, same as the other mods. And we have this app to show. So it's exactly the same app. We just run Nuxt build-SPA. We have client-side navigation. But if I look at the source code, I don't have the HTML. When we do SPA, we still server render the meta, so you still have some SEO capabilities. OK, that's it for the mods. I hope you guys learned something. Oh, damn it. OK, we have different packages. For development, we recommend to use Nuxt, which is 68 megabytes. That's huge, but that's not module. And we have Webpack, Babel, everything inside. For production, we recommend Nuxt Start, which is 8 megabytes, so it works for serverless and any Docker. So that's the installation size, not your app size, of course. Bleeding Edge, that's the package for if you want to have the latest bug fixes or feature requests. We publish this package every day if we had commit during the day. And for TypeScript, we have this package that you install with @nuxt/TypeScript runtime, because we support TypeScript now. And let's do some live coding so you can see how we look like. So I have my package.json. I hope that everyone can see. Is it OK? Or you can say, yeah. OK, thank you. So I have this Nuxt command I'm going to run. Actually, I will run Nuxt-O. So it opens the browser. So while Webpack is bundling, we have this nice animation, so you don't have to wait on the terminal. So you say, please create the pages directory. So I'm going to create the pages directory. And like PHP, I will create this index.view file. And I will say, hello, ReactiveConf. OK. Saving, refresh. OK, this is cool. I have hot module replacement. And I want to use a plugin, a Vue plugin. So I'm going to use Vue multi-select. So I'm going to the installation page and say, OK, you have to import Vue multi-select, register the component. So I will create a plugins directory, create a file called Vue multi-select select.js. I will also import Vue. And they say that I need to add the CSS. So what I'm going to do is I will import it right inside my JavaScript file. Because we use Webpack, so we can import the CSS. And what's good is when I want to remove it, I just have to remove this file. So in the next version of Nuxt, I will auto-import the plugins. But right now, I need to specify it in my config. So plugins will be an array. And this is good. Now I want to use it in my page. Now I added the plugin for that. Vue multi-select data. I will replace to Vue, React, Angular. OK, indentation, that's important. OK, now I have my component, I have the CSS. Why is it not? That's annoying. OK, I have my components. Now I'm going to create another page where I will make an API call. So let's create this users.view page. I will have data. I have my list of users here. I will display my users. OK, let's go to the users page. And as you can see, this is server rendered by default. And if I want to make an API call, what I will do with the Vue application is I will make sure this is asynchronous. I will use fetch. I have my placeholder API. And I have my list of users. But the issue here is that it's not server rendered. If I refresh, that's not good for SEO and for user experience. So we created in Nuxt this hook called async data. So as you can guess, it's like data, so you have to return an object. And I will directly fetch my users in the async data. So I save. Now I refresh. I have my list of users that has been server rendered. And we have this hydration, and it works automatically. I want to show how it is when you do client-side navigation. So for this, I will create a layout, so I can have all of my navbar. OK, I will keep that. So let's have my list of links. I'm going to use NuxtLink, which is the component to navigate on servers on client side, but it will render on the server as a normal A tag. So this is my home link. This is my users page. I will also create a login page, so I'm spoiling you a little bit, and a secret page that you have to be logged in to access it. Oops. OK. So I have my links, but now I don't have my page anymore. So I'm going to use the Nuxt component to render the current page. And of course, if I put 3 Nuxt components, I have 3 times the page, so I don't recommend to use that. So I have my pages. So let's add some CSS. I will use water CSS. For those that doesn't know, it's just a normal theme that will make all the normal tag more beautiful. I'm going to use the head key. The head is for manage your head element in your Nuxt app. We use ViewMeta for that. And we say link, which is an array. And then we transform this like it's JavaScript object. OK. Refresh. OK, I have my beautiful page. On client-side navigation, what we do, if I click on users and my connection is slower, I will wait for async data to be finished before showing the page. And normally you have this loader at the top. As you know, head, you can use it for SEO. So let's say homepage here. And I have my title here. So you can manage everything with this head meta tag. And I want to make sure that I know, it's hard to type and talk, to know on which page I am. So I will just add this text. OK, so this is the class generated automatically by ViewRouter. So we say Nuxt link. So now I know on which page I am. So let's have this login page. I'm going to create this login.view. And before this, I need to manage my state for my whole app. So whatever page I am, I know if I'm logged in or no. For this, I'm going to use Vuex. And Vuex is like a Redux. Let's talk about just a global state. So we create a store directory with index.js file. And I can directly export my state, which is a function that returns an object, connected false. I will export my mutation. Login, I got the state.connected equal true. I'm sorry if you guys are using semicolon. I know it can hurt your eyes, but sorry. So let's see with ViewDevTools my state. I have connected false. So I can use $store.state in every page, every component. So that's what I'm going to do here. So login button, if $store.state, if I'm connected, when you click on this link, you will call this logout mutation. Otherwise, you call the login. And it works. Woo! We have this mutation. We are now connected. Let's create this secret page that I will protect just after. So of course, here, my state is not persisted, but I can use a module to keep it in a cookie session or whatever. We have a hot module to manage this authentication. And here, so I'm the secret page, but I don't want to show it if you're not connected. So what I'm going to do, we have this feature called Middleware. If you used Express, you should be familiar with middleware. So I'm going to create a middleware directory, call it authenticated.js, which is a function. Here I get the context. And let's look at the Nuxt.js documentation for the context. I can get all of these keys. So app store, I'm going to use store and redirect. So if I am not connected, redirect to login, otherwise to nothing and go to the next step. So I have my authenticated middleware. I want to use it on my secret page. So middleware key, authenticated. Authenticated. OK, now let's try to access my secret page. As I can see, I'm automatically redirected to login. So I'm now logged in. I can access my secret page. If I refresh, I will be redirected to /login since the state is not persisted. This, I don't have the time to show how to persist the state, but you can do it with cookies. So now I have my app. What I'm going to do is I want to make it a PWA. So let's go to pwa.nuxt.js.org. It says that you need to add the PWA module. I have it here. Then you add it to your Nuxt.config.js. Let's add it here. Then you ensure static directory exists, and we create an icon inside. OK, I have it. And let's put an icon inside. And then add swa.star. I have it here, because it will create it automatically for the service worker. And that's it. I know that I will add, this PWA option, manifest. So I can give a name, Nuxt reactive, and long English. OK, now I have this. I will bundle it and push it on a static hosting. So I will call yarn generate. So as you can see, we have two bundles, one for client, one for server. If you want to know how Nuxt works under the hood, you can look at the .nuxt directory. As you can see, we have the router that is generated. So it's a Vue application. We have the middleware here. It's like a boilerplate generating a Vue app for you. And it generated these pages. So let's deploy this dist directory to search. mightyboy.search.sh. OK. And let's see. Incognito window, HTTPS. And I have my application. It's working. Perfect. If I refresh here, it has been static generated. So when we see you have a redirect, when we generate the page, we do a client-side generation. So it will work on client-side, see you're not connected to the redirect. And let's check the performances. So finger crossed. Otherwise, I will just run away if it's really bad. OK. Nice. We have 96 of performances. So what can we do? We can avoid these render blocking resources. Of course, we put the CSS as a head. We could directly have it inside the app and let Nuxt server render it. And best practice, search doesn't handle HTTP 2. And we have the PWA that we can install when we're not in incognito. Normally, it should happen here. Well, I don't know how many times I have to do this. But normally, yes, I can install it, and we have our PWA. So that's it for the live coding. It's available on GitHub, on Nuxt.imo, on my personal account, or you can play with it on Nuxt.imo or Nightyboy. Who are we? We are now a 9-core team member working on Nuxt all around the world, from Eastern Europe to Brazil. My brother is here. Alex is taking a picture without asking. And we have a good Nuxt adoption. I'm really happy about this. So thank you guys if you're using Nuxt. That's because of you. And we have companies trusting us as well. Some some companies that I don't know the name. And we have more and more companies. We have strong adoption in Japan and China as well, thanks to Vue. And you can keep in touch with us on the Twitter account, GitHub if you have a question, or if you want to contribute, answering questions, making pull requests, please, I encourage you. We have the Discord if you want to chat with us. We have a partnership with Vue School, and we have a 1 month free pass. So if you want to take a picture of this, you have a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I am Sebastien Chopin. I'm the creator of Nuxt. You can find me on Twitter and GitHub with 80Nuxt. And thank you.